Good morning, LMU. Happy Thursday. Yesterday was so amazing because I got so many pictures of students doing their work, and I was so happy to see everyone's faces and all of your writing and your work. And please continue to send in pictures. I love seeing those. It makes me feel very happy and connected with everyone. So this is our schedule for today. This video, we're going to do math meeting, phonics, reading groups, writing, math, think, read, discuss, and science. Before we get started on math meeting, I wanted to show you that you are in first grade and you're already becoming such independent learners, learning through a video. And you know, the responsibility is really on you to then do the work. And you know that Miss Ortega right now is getting her master's, and I want to be a speech pathologist in the future. And that's how I learned. So this is my professor, my teacher.
Below 1 standard deviation,
So
but
I
within
sit,
2, below 2 standard deviation.
I watch her videos, and then I go and I do my work just like you do. And you should feel so proud that you are being able to learn this way. So go ahead and pat yourselves on the back. Let's go ahead and get started on math meeting. Our calendar today, get ready. Today is Thursday, March 19th, 2020. Yesterday was Wednesday, March 18th, 2020. Tomorrow will be Friday, March 20th, 2020. We're going to go ahead and do the number of the day. Yesterday, our number of the day was 120. It has 3 digits, 1, 2, and 0, and they all have different values. That means they're worth different. The 0 is worth 0, the 2 is worth 10 because it's in the tens place, and the 1 is worth 100 because it's in the hundredths place. Today we need to add another 1. So I'm gonna add a 1. This shows me the place value form, and my 0 digit now becomes a 1 digit. We have 2 1s right here in the number 121. But the 1s have different values. Even though they're the same digit, they have different values because of where they are in the place value. What is the difference between the value of this one and this one? That's right, this one is worth only 1 because it's in the ones place, but this one's worth 100. Its value is 100 because it's in the hundreds place. Let's go ahead and I'm going to put this chart right here. I want you to get your journal and you try to fill all of it out by yourself. Go ahead and pause the video and then we will go over the answers. So, did you pause it? Are you doing it? Great. So, your number of the day, you should have 121 with the place value form. 100, 2 tens, and 1. This time I'm going to go backwards. So plus 1, I can use my place value chart to help me when I'm doing plus 1, minus 1, plus 10, minus 10. So if I add another 1, this digit turns into 2, and so I have the number 122. Minus 1, go back to 121. If I had a minus 1, I took away 1, this becomes 0, and I go back to 120. Now plus 10, minus 10. Plus 10, if I add a 10, 100 stays the same. Now I have 3 tens, 131. Go back, minus 10. Now I have 111. Here we have 3 digits. They're all the same digit, 1, 1, and 1. But they all have different values because of where they are in the place value form. This digit's worth 1, this one's worth 10, and this one's worth 100. All right, now, is it odd or even? 120, let me fix this. 1, is it odd or even? That's right, it's odd, because in the ones place, there's only 1, and he doesn't have a partner. It is lonely, it is odd. Now, let's go ahead. I'm going to erase this and do expanded form, word form, and standard form. Expanded form, we have the number 121. Expanded form, 100 plus 20 plus 1. Word form, 121. And the standard form, it's just the regular way. I have a challenge for you. Bring it. Go ahead and do it in the unit form. Do you remember what unit form looks like? Remember, that's something that you're going to do in 2nd grade. All right, I'm going to show you right now. Go ahead and do it, and then we'll compare our answers. So, all right, unit form, 100, 2 tens, 1 1. One group of hundreds, 2 groups of 10, and 1 1. And now I'm going to do our number line. So we're going to start 121 and 1. 18. So we have 121, 120, 119, 118, 121, 122, 123, 124. All right, now we're going to do counting to 120 first by tens. Get ready. Woo. Oh no, every time I zoom, it's gonna go this way. Let's fix it. Let's take a picture. All right, here we go. 120 counting by tens. Let's go. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. 120 counting by fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, 105, 110, 115, 120. 120 counting by twos. This would be a time where Isaac would have his hand up. He really loves to count by twos. Get ready. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50, 52, 54, 56, 58, 60, 62, 64, 66, 68, 70, 72, 74, 76, 78, 80, 82, 84, 86, 88, 90, 92, 94, 96, 98, 100, 102, 104, 106, 108, 110, 112, 114, 116, 118, 120. And then this would be the point where Santiago would have his hand up because he loves coming up and counting by 25s. Get ready. 25, 50, 75, 100. Again. 25, 50, 75, 100. Now we need to go ahead and add our coin. So 120. Now that we don't have our coins, we're doing it like second graders. You have so many word problems with money when you get to second grade. You're going to be subtracting from $1, making change, adding. So we have 120 cents. We know that how many cents make $1? 100. Plus, 121. 20 plus 1. So we have $1. 20. We need 2 tenths. Those are called dimes. 2 dimes and 1 penny. 100, 110, 120, 121. $1, period, decimal, and 21 cents, or 121. All right, we are done with our math meeting. We can go ahead and check that off. Let me go ahead and get our marker. Now it's time for phonics. I have a recognition. Recognize. I want to recognize Grace, who sent me a picture of her phonics. Yesterday, she went ahead and drew the heart and used the prepositions inside around her heart. So she did a star inside, through, above, and under. I also want to recognize Isaac, who sent a picture of making the chart with the ED sound. We know that ED at the end of a word can have 3 different sounds, or ed. So great job, both of you. Please keep sending in those pictures. Let's go ahead and watch our prepositions video.
Preposition. It's your ambition to tell me exactly my position. I could be on the couch or outside my house. Am I across the street or within your reach? I could go up the stairs or fall off my chair. Am I in front of you? Are you behind me too? Preposition. It's your ambition to tell me exactly my position. Preposition. You're on a mission to tell me exactly my position. Take a walk with me, and we'll go by the sea, and then along the path that goes around and back, and underneath the waves, or inside a cave. And before we're through, we'll jump over the moon. Preposition. It's your ambition to tell me exactly my position. Preposition. You're on a mission to tell me exactly my position. I could be on the couch outside my house. Am I across the street or within your reach? I could go up the stairs. Did I fall off my chair? Am I in front of you? Are you behind me too? Now I'm about to say, without further delay, when you're next to me, that's where I wanna be. Now we're near the end, but we're among good friends. So that after this, I will do it one more time. Preposition. It's your ambition preposition. You're on a mission to tell me exactly my position.
All right, so remember, prepositions describe the location of something. So today we see this picture of the sun. So you are going to look at this picture and notice the clouds and the sun, and you're going to write a sentence explaining where the clouds are in relation to the sun. You're going to make sure that you're using prepositions in your sentence. So go ahead and pause the video, look at the picture, and write your sentence describing where the clouds are in relation to the sun. If you have a marker or a crayon, you can make your prepositions a different color so they stand out. Please send me a picture of your preposition sentence. All right, phonics check. Now we are going to do reading groups. So if you have access to Lexia, make sure that you are doing your 5 units today. Today's Thursday, so 5, 10, 15, 20. You need 20 units today. And if you are done with your units, then you can go and submit 1 article of ReadWorks. And if you don't have access to those, please make sure you're reading a book and writing a summary. Reading for at least 30 minutes. Come back after you're done. So go ahead, stop the video and go do your reading groups. Welcome back. We are done with reading groups and now it's time for writing. Today, your writing prompt is, if you could have a superpower, if I could have a superpower, I would want the ability to. So if you could have a superpower, what would you want to be able to do? What would you want your superpower to be? Think about it. I think I have mine. I think I would want to be able to fly. I think that would be very fun if I was able to fly. So you're going to plan your writing first. Good writers always make a plan. What is the superpower that you want? Give me 3 reasons why you think that would be a very, very fun superpower. And then 3 examples of why you chose that reason. So, for example, I want to be able to fly because I can travel. I would, for example, be able to fly to Hawaii. I can go to London. That was my example of why being able to travel is why I want to fly. So go ahead and fill out your plan. Once you're done with your plan, you may go ahead and use your journal to start writing your story. I want to challenge you to edit your writing after you're done. So I noticed that some scholars had some sentences that didn't have periods, or that after the period, the first letter of a sentence wasn't capitalized. So that always happens when you do your first draft because it's your first draft. So you can also challenge yourself to edit your writing after you're done. I have some ideas of ways that you can make it a little bit more fun. when I was in 2nd grade, I made this book so you can write your story. And then I published it. So it says right here, The Candy House by Leslie Ortega, 2nd grade. You can make a cover page, do a border. So if I was able to fly, this one is Once Upon a Time. There lived 3 girls whose names were Shanice, who thinks she's the leader. She has smooth brown hair and cute blue eyes like the sky. So you can make sure that you're challenging yourself to add a lot of details to your writing. So this is something that you can do if you get bored or have some extra time. I also made one called The Evil Witch in second grade. And so each page was a different part of the story. Another idea is, this is my 3rd grade writing folder. And so I've kept all my writing, so you can maybe make your own writing portfolio during this free time. And this is very old that the paper is even brown at this point. So we have different stories that we wrote. So you can go ahead. This was Mr. Ortega in 3rd grade. And so then when we go back to school, we can even bring in some of those stories and type them. So that means to write them on the computer, and I can print them out. So those are some ideas of how to make your writing more enjoyable or a little bit more fun. Let me know if you make a book or if you start a book. Maybe you want to not do the writing prompt today and you want to edit the one that you did yesterday, make yesterday's even better. You're welcome to do that too. You don't have to start the new prompt today if you want to make the one from yesterday better, add more details, draw some pictures. It's up to you. So go ahead and pause this video and go ahead and work on your writing. All right, welcome back. We are done with writing. It is time for math. So today would have been the last day that we would be comparing numbers using the greater than, less than, and equal to sign. So greater than starts bigger and gets smaller, less than starts small and gets big, and the equal sign. Today would have been our very last day working on this. So if you have any dice or playing cards or dominoes, you can challenge yourself to make 2-digit numbers. Do like 5 or 10. So if I roll, let's see, I get 1. So I'm going to do the number 1. I'm going to roll again. I got 1 again. I'm going to roll. So I made my first 2-digit number. Now I got a 6. So I'm going to make a new 2-digit number and a 2. So I got 11 and 62. And I'm going to think, okay, I know my alligator wants to eat 62 because it's bigger, but I need to know that this sign is less than. So 11 is less than 62. Don't forget to write your sentence statement. So 11 is less than 62. So I want to make sure I do both. 11 is less than 62, and with words, 11 is less than 62. So you can do that in your journal and do a few of those. And I also have this paper that maybe you don't have. Sometimes you can make up your own numbers, or you can pause this video and solve these. And then I'll put this here. You could stop this video so that it can help you. All right. And if you have access to a computer, make sure that you're using this time to work on Dreambox and doing the notebooks. Shout out to Noah, who has been working so hard on Dreambox. I'm so proud of all of the lessons that you're working on. So go ahead and get started on your math. And now we're back. So now it's time for Think, Read, Discuss. So yesterday, I want you to think of all the things that we learned about the moon. Yeah, we learned so many things about the moon yesterday. I'm going to become small now. Yesterday, we learned that the moon it's actually big. It's a big, cold, and dark rock. It's not a gassy star like the sun. It doesn't make any light. This reflection that looks like it's illuminating is just the light that's reflecting from the sun. It's reflecting off the moon, and it's coming from the sun. We also learned that the moon orbits Earth, and that as it's orbiting Earth, it takes 27 days to make one full cycle. We learned that it takes Earth 365 days to make one rotation around the sun, and that the moon looks different because of the different moon phases that occur due to the different amount of light that's reflecting from the sun. So today we are going to learn about when people first started wondering what the moon looked like in person. This was before we had a lot of technology, and we're going to start learning about how we got our first man ever to the moon. So here's a quick picture of Miss Ortega in second grade. In kindergarten. I went to a museum and I was sad because we got to dress like astronauts, but they ran out of helmets, and I was really sad. That's also how I feel right now that when I'm not able to see you. So I hope that you continue sending pictures, because then I feel a lot more excited and connected to you. All right, so our vocabulary words today, the first one is astronaut, and that's a person who is trained to travel into space. So we'll go ahead and go astronaut. And then we have launch, is to lift or push an object with force. Go ahead and use that word in a sentence. Launch, to lift or push an object with force. Mrs. Ortega launched the paper off her desk. Rockets, they are engines that power spacecraft. They drive them through the air or space. The rocket shot straight up into the air. So we're going to go rockets, launch, astronaut, and then a spacecraft is a vehicle for traveling beyond Earth's atmosphere. So a spacecraft has many strong layers to protect the astronauts as they travel to space. Some people can say spacecraft, some people can say rocket. And then we have technology. It is the practical use of new scientific discoveries. So technology, we see it in our phones and our computers, and technologies change a lot. Just how we have, I had to pick up the paper, I launched. Those are going to be the special words that you are going to hear. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our story. Let me take it out. All right, so ever since they first gazed up into the stars, people have always wondered if it was possible and what it would be like to travel into outer space. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to travel into outer space? Yeah, tell someone what you think it would look like, feel like. So, for most of human history, the idea of traveling into space was considered to be impossible. People thought it was not possible. Space, most people thought, was out of reach, and there was no way that humans would ever be able to go there. Still, this did not keep people from using their imaginations and coming up with creative ideas for space travel. What creative idea does this picture show of how they can travel to space? So the Chinese invented the first rockets hundreds of years ago using gunpowder. It is the same type of explosive used to fire guns and cannons. Lighting the gunpowder would launch the rocket into the air. It was not until about 100 years ago that scientists started to make serious advances in rocket technology. So what used to power the rockets to launch them into air? Do you think we still launch them that way? By the 1950s, rocket technology had improved to the point that people began to think seriously about space travel and exploration. Back then, there was a nation called the Soviet Union, which no longer exists today, but which consisted of Russia and other countries near Russia. At the same time, the United States was the only other nation in the world as large and as strong as the Soviet Union. The leaders of the Soviet Union and the United States each wanted to show the world that theirs was the more They each wanted to show the world that theirs was the more powerful country by being the first to launch a rocket into outer space. So I have a map right here. Right here is the United States. And this big green portion is Russia. So we have the United States and Russia. Russia and other countries were the Soviet Union. So we're going to be talking about these two places. So if you want in your journal, you can go ahead. I'm going to be talking about Soviet Union, United States, and both of them. So I want you to make a Venn diagram. This will be for things that happen in the United States, things that happen in the Soviet Union, and things that happen for both of them. So we know that the Soviet Union, we learned, consisted of Russia and other countries near Russia. So we can go ahead and add that about the Soviet Union. We also learned that the United States and the Soviet Union were both very large and strong. So both of them were large and strong. You can add that information in for both. They both wanted to prove that they were the most powerful if they were able to launch a rocket into outer space. So let's go ahead. So this photo shows scientists in the United States launching the first rocket from Cape Canaveral, Florida in 1950. This was just a test to see whether this type of rocket engine worked. This was the first of hundreds of rockets to be launched from Cape Canaveral. But the Soviet Union succeeded in putting the first man-made object in orbit on October 4, 1957, by launching a satellite called Sputnik 1. A satellite is any object that moves in a constant orbit around another object in space. And some satellites teach us about space because they take photographs and then we get to see them here on Earth. Sputnik 1 was carried into space aboard a rocket and then released. So it didn't have its own engine like the rocket. The rocket took it, it broke off, and then the rocket came back. So the Sputnik couldn't make it to space on its own. It needed the help of the rocket. It orbited Earth for several months before re-entering the atmosphere and burning up. So that's what happens, remember, when meteors break through the atmosphere, they burn up, and that makes it look like it's a shooting star. After the success of Sputnik 1, the space race between the United States and the Soviet Union had begun. So it was not a real race. They were not racing to a finish line, but they were both kind of fighting to be the first to go to space. So the Soviet Union was working really hard and the United States were working really hard because they both wanted to be the first ones to get to outer space, to send a man to outer space. So that's why it's called the space race. So both of them are in the space race. After the success of Sputnik 1, the space race between the United States and the Soviet Union had begun, and each country wanted to prove that it had a better space program than the other country. For several years, the Soviet Union continued to lead in the space race. The leaders and people of each country took the space race very seriously. It was not a game, but a true matter of national pride. National pride means you feel really good about your country. The word pride means that you feel happy, that you get to do something good for your country, or for just in general. But nationalism means that you're doing it for your country, national pride. So the United States developed a space program. So this is something the United States are doing. They developed a space program called the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA for short, like Dylan's shoes, how they say NASA. The scientists at NASA hurried to try to catch up to the progress the Soviets had made. A few months after the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, NASA scientists in the United States launched a satellite of their own called the Explorer 1. So Soviet Union launched Sputnik, United States launched Explorer 1. And so it's right here in this picture. So this is Yuri Gagarin. The space race continued at a heated pace into 1961. So both countries are trying really hard to win for 11 years. They've been working hard for 11 years. When Soviet Yuri Gagarin became the first person to go into space and return safely. This picture of Gagarin was taken on the way to the launch pad for his historic journey. You can bet that he was feeling very nervous at this point. The Americans were close behind. A couple of months after Gagarin made his famous flight, a man named Alan Shepard. So Soviet Union had Gagarin, the United States had him. His name is Alan Shepard. He became the first American to travel into space. This picture was taken shortly before Shepard boarded the Freedom 7 spacecraft. So remember, the spacecraft is the vehicle that we use for traveling beyond Earth's atmosphere. Notice that, like Gagarin, Shepard was wearing a helmet and a special suit. Space travelers need the special gear like this in order to survive the extreme conditions of outer space. In outer space, there's no air, So you need the mask to be able to have oxygen to breathe. The temperature can be either incredibly hot or incredibly cold, and so you need your suit to help regulate your temperature. So returning from outer space is just as dangerous as launching into outer space. Because remember, you have to crash through the atmosphere to get to space, and then you have to crash through the atmosphere to get back. And things like meteors catch on fire. So it can be very dangerous. This photo shows the Freedom 7. This was Alan Shepard's ship where after his flight. Shepard is inside that little capsule. He's in here. When his flight was finished, the capsule re-entered the atmosphere and a parachute opened to lower it gently to Earth. Shepard landed in the ocean as planned, and the capsule floated there until the helicopter came to recover him. Space travelers like Alan Shepard are called astronauts. The word astronaut comes from two Greek words. Astro, remember, we know what that means. That means a star, and naut meaning sail. So an astronaut is a star sailor. Although being an astronaut can certainly be one of the most interesting jobs in the world, it is by no means an easy job. Astronauts spend years in training to prepare for journeys into outer space. Astronauts must be healthy and strong because space travel can be very difficult. Astronauts are stuffed into tiny spaces and launched into space in a rocket powered by thousands of gallons of powerful fuel. It is scary and it is uncomfortable, but astronauts put up with it. This picture shows astronauts undergoing training. These Apollo 17 astronauts are learning to use equipment for their mission. Early NASA astronauts also spent hours and hours running in place on treadmills, soaking their feet in ice water, and undergoing a number of other difficult, painful tasks intended to make them tough. They had to be tough to be astronauts. This is what a treadmill looks like. So they have to run on these for hours and hours. Like these. And then you can run on them. So we learned a lot about how the United States and the Soviet Union, which was Russia and other countries, were similar and different as they were in the space race, trying to prove that they were the most powerful and strong countries. So if you go ahead and do the Venn diagram, please send me a picture. We learned a lot of information about both of them.
I didn't get that.
And this is just some of the things. There's more. You can rewatch the video, but in the United States, we made NASA. We launched Explorer 1. Alan Shepard was the first American to travel to space. The Soviet Union consists of Russia and the other countries near Russia. They launched Sputnik 1, and they not sent, because it already happened. They sent, see, I have to edit too. I wrote that too quickly. They sent the first person to go and return from space. And both of them were large and strong. Both of their leaders want to show the world that they are the most powerful country. Well, this already happened in the past, so I need to add ed to the word want. What sound do you think that ed makes? Want, wanted, or wanted? That's right, it makes the ed sound. Send me a picture if you go ahead and do the Venn diagram. And we are all done with Think, Read, Discuss. Check. Now it's time for science. Thank you so much to Dasha, who sent in an awesome video of her planting her garlic bulb. So this is mine. And there's nothing really that's happening yet. It takes a few days for something to start growing. So as we're waiting, we are going to plant something else. If you have any seeds at home from fruits or anything, this can work. So I have 3 seeds. I have a pinto bean, a black bean, and a pumpkin seed. And so I'm going to get 3 napkins, 1 for each. And I'm going to put them in a plastic bag and see what happens. How can I make them grow? So first thing I need to do is come and wet my napkins. You don't want them to be too wet, so make sure that you are just making them damp. So here's 1. Make sure I squeeze out the water so they're not too wet. 2, and 3. So now we can come back. I'm going to take my towel. I'm going to put the seed and start with the pumpkin seed. I'm going to put it in the middle and I'm going to close it. So in the seed is going to be in the napkin. So now I'm going to take the plastic bag and put it inside. This is the pumpkin seed. I'm going to close it. And I'm going to take a tape that I labeled pumpkin so I know which is which. And I'm going to put it on my window. Okay, now I'm going to do that with all 3. This is the pinto bean. Put it inside. So just how the Soviet Union and the United States were going through a space race. That wasn't a real race, but they both were working really hard to be the first ones to send someone to the moon and into space. I'm going to have this seed race, and we're going to see which of the seeds is going to be the one to grow first, which one's going to grow tallest, which one is going to maybe be, are they going to be the same color? Like, what are they going to grow? Are they going to grow, is this one, because it's a black bean, going to grow black roots? Is the pumpkin seed going to be orange? Okay, so we're going to get black beans and my pinto bean. So in your journal, I want you to write what you predict is going to happen. Which one do you think is going to grow first? Okay, so here are my seeds. I put my pinto. This one is the pumpkin, and this one is the black seed, the black bean. If you have any at home, please send me a picture if you do this too. So you're going to get your journal, and you're going to tell me we have 3. We have the black bean, we have the pinto bean, and number 3, we have the pumpkin seed. You're going to draw what they look like now. And then you're going to write, what do you think is going to happen? Which one do you think is going to grow first? Which one's going to be the biggest one, the tallest one? What color do you think the root is going to be? Do you think they're going to look the same? Are they going to look different? How many days do you think it's going to take for something to sprout? So send me a picture if you make those predictions and if you do this project at home. So we are all done with science. We can go ahead and check it off. go ahead and make sure that you're also working in your packet. There's lots of science articles in there that you can also be doing. And I have some books that we are going to add to our library when we go back to school. So I'll go ahead and level them so that you know that there's new books coming. I hope that you had a great day today. I'm so proud of you for being such independent learners and growing your brain the same way that I am doing, and a way that you might be doing in college too, when you're either getting your undergraduate, your master's, your doctorate, who knows? So you are doing a great job. Thank you so much for those pictures, and I hope that you have a really great day. Goodbye, LMU.